Hello, welcome to the channel. I trust you are doing fine. In today's video, we shall start a long series of videos on JAMB's Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations that we popularly know as UTME. If you are going to be a candidate in this examination, I do not want you to assume that it is too early to begin preparations. Start preparing early. Get yourself familiarized with the questions and the topics on which these questions are set, and that is exactly what we want to do in this series of videos. In today's video, we want to look at the word hardly and also look at some past questions that were set around the word hardly. The word hardly is an adverb and it could have slightly different meanings depending on context. 1. Hardly means almost not or barely. In this case, it is used to show that something happened to a very small degree or extent. Let's see some examples. I could hardly hear what she was saying. This means that I almost didn't hear what she was saying, although I could hear some, but very little. In the second example, there was hardly anyone at the party. This means that there were very few people at the party. Not that there was nobody. Actually, there were people at the party, but very few. Now, whenever we see the word hardly ever, it means very seldom or almost never. Let's see this example. Tunde hardly ever plays football. Tunde hardly ever plays football. This means that Tunde almost never plays football. In number 2, hardly means almost unable. Almost unable. It shows that something is done with great effort or struggle done with great difficulty. Let's see the example. He could hardly walk after the accident. This means that walking was difficult for him after the accident. He was walking with difficulty, almost unable to walk. Binta was hardly able to contain her excitement. This means that Binta struggled to stay calm. She actually stayed calm, but she did it with difficulty. She struggled to do it. Let's go to number 3, the third meaning of hardly. In this case, it means only just or very recently. Only just or very recently. It is used to express that something happened just before another thing happened. Something happened and immediately after it, another thing happened. In this example, let's see it. Hardly had I arrived when the meeting started. This means that I arrived just before the meeting began. It means it was no longer arrived, the meeting began. She had hardly finished speaking when the bell rang. This means that she finished speaking moments before the bell rang. Immediately she finished speaking, the bell rang. Let's go to meaning 4. Hardly here means not reasonable or expected. It is used to express that something is possible but not reasonable or not expected. In this example, let's see what is there. You can hardly blame him for being upset. It means it is not fair for you to blame him. It is hardly surprising that she won the award. This means that one should not be surprised that she won the award. It is not expected for you to be surprised that she won the award. Now, let's come to the interesting part of this topic. Let's come to the usage of the word hardly. Hardly is already a negative marker. It should therefore not be used with another negative marker. It means we should not make sentences like this. I didn't hardly sleep. It is wrong. I hardly didn't sleep. It is also wrong. Since hardly is a negative marker, didn't should not be used with it. Can't, won't, all those negative markers, not should not be used with it because it is already a negative marker. So instead of us saying, I hardly didn't sleep, just say, I hardly slept. Also, hardly should not be followed by some. We should not use some after hardly. It can be followed by any. Of course, because it is a negative marker, any can be used after it. We'd hardly have some oil in the jar. It is wrong. We cannot use some after hardly. The right one is we hardly have any oil in the jar. Also, there was hardly someone at the party. It is wrong. We should say there was hardly anyone at the party. Let's come to some UTME past questions relating to hardly. Number 1 here, we have a past question from UME 1985, question 45. Choose the option that is nearest in meaning. He hardly ever falls sick. Hardly ever is underlined. Most often, very seldom, sometimes, frequently, occasionally. If you go back to look at the meanings of hardly ever, especially in number 1, hardly ever means seldom or almost never. So when we have the word Kelechi hardly ever falls sick, the correct option is option B, very seldom. Kelechi very seldom falls sick. The second one is in 1987 question 44. It's also nearest in meaning. Our teacher seldom comes late to school. We have very often, always, frequently, hardly ever. Of course, judging from what we have in the first past question, the correct option here is hardly ever. Our teacher seldom comes late to school. It means our teacher hardly ever comes late to school. Let's check some other past questions before we call it a day. This one is UTME 2007 question 45. The question says, there was dash any traffic as he drove home. There was dash any traffic as he drove home. Hardly, normally, usually, no. This particular word, any traffic, shows that hardly is the correct option because we have said that any can be used with hardly. Let's go to the last question relating to hardly. UTME 2018 question 29. The economic situation is so bad that many wage earners are hardly able to make both ends meet. This means that people's income exceed their expenditure. Most people are extravagant with their income. People's earnings are not sufficient for their essential needs. Most people engage in activities that bring them extra pay. The question says the economic situation is so bad that many wage earners are hardly able to make both ends meet. I think this hardly goes with the meaning that says almost unable to do something or to do something with difficulty, with great struggle. So it means many wage earners struggle to make both ends meet. If you look at that, the best interpretation is option C. People's earnings are not sufficient for their essential needs. It means they struggle to meet up with their essential needs. So that is all. I believe we have learned something today. There's going to be more and more topics, questions on UTME. So do well to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. See you another time. Bye-bye.